All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to break down a pretty fascinating analysis that points to a major shift in modern warfare. We're looking at how Iran's military strategy seems to have changed in the blink of an eye, going from just brute force to surgical precision. And crucially, who the powerful allies might be that are pulling the strings behind the scenes. It's a threat we've all heard before in global conflicts. It's the language of overwhelming, indiscriminate power. The message is pretty simple, right? Pure destruction. There's no subtlety involved at all. And that's exactly where this story takes a really sharp turn. What happens when that kind of overwhelming force gets a reply that's, well, not more brute force, but something way smarter, something shockingly precise? That's the puzzle at the very heart of what we're unpacking today. So, according to the analysis in our source material, Iran's recent military actions have revealed a completely new playbook. Seriously, it's a strategy that has a lot of observers scratching their heads and asking one huge question: how are they doing this? The analyst we're following points to three massive differences. First, they've shifted from these broad, kind of inaccurate attacks to hyper-accurate strikes. Second, they're now focusing on high-value, really painful targets instead of just bombing a general area. And third, and this is a big one, they're using a tactic of revisiting a target, hitting it again to make absolutely sure it's completely destroyed. And this isn't just a theory. Alongside this new precision, the source notes that Iran has claimed a series of pretty significant and incredibly specific operations. We're talking about an alleged direct hit on a secret U.S. military meeting and multiple strikes on facilities across the region. Okay, so this brings us to the crucial question. Iran is a nation that's been under heavy international sanctions for years. So how is it suddenly achieving this level of military sophistication? Where is all this technology coming from? I mean, let's be clear. This isn't just about having better missiles. To get this accurate, you need a constant fire hose of real-time intelligence and some seriously advanced targeting technology. So the question remains, who is providing it? The analyst in our source material argues that figuring this out isn't exactly rocket science, if you'll pardon the pun. The evidence, they suggest, points directly toward two global superpowers who just might be tipping the scales. So here's the theory that's on the table. This newfound capability isn't homegrown. Instead, the analyst argues it's being supplied by Russia and China, which, if true, is a move that completely changes the strategic landscape. The analysis basically lays this out like a detective case. It follows a trail of clues, looking at three key things: some very suspicious timing, some highly unusual public intelligence dumps, and the kind of advanced tactical support that really only a major power can provide. Okay, clue number one is all about the timing. The analyst notes that just days before things really escalated, the Russian Navy happened to be in the area conducting joint military exercises with Iran. A coincidence? Maybe, but the timing is definitely interesting. But then we get to what the analyst calls the most direct, most public piece of evidence. And this one is a real head-turner. China did something very out of the ordinary. They released a detailed satellite photo of a key U.S. airbase for the entire world to see. And the level of detail here was just stunning. You could clearly count 52 U.S. fighter jets, transport planes, all the infrastructure on the ground. But here's the kicker, the point the analyst really drives home. If China is willing to show this level of detail to the public, just imagine the quality of intelligence they might be providing to Iran privately. But getting high-quality intel before a strike is only half the story. To achieve this kind of hyper-accuracy, you also need feedback after the strike. In military speak, this is called bomb damage assessment, or BDA. It's how you know what you hit, what you missed, and how to adjust your next attack to be even deadlier. And right here, this is where the theory really clicks into place. To do BDA right, you need things like sophisticated satellites or drone surveillance. So the analyst concludes that someone with those capabilities is essentially debriefing Iran after each strike, telling them, hey, you missed by 10 meters to the left, aim here next time. And that someone, they argue, could only be a power like Russia or China. So this alleged cooperation, if it's happening, signals that what we're seeing is way more than just a regional conflict. According to the source, this is a major chess move in a much, much larger game, and it reflects a huge shift in global alliances. What the analyst presents is a picture of two emerging blocs. On one side, you have the United States and Israel. And on the other, a new strategic triangle seems to be forming: Iran, China, and Russia. all working in concert to challenge the established order. And just when you thought the stakes couldn't get any higher, according to the source, China stepped in with a direct and frankly chilling warning, which was delivered through an unofficial channel. The message, which the source attributes to Victor Gao, a figure often described as an unofficial voice for Beijing, was completely unambiguous. It was a very clear red line drawn in the sand about the use of nuclear weapons. But what did that really mean? Well, the source suggests this wasn't a threat to start a war, but a move to control one. It's like this. By allegedly providing the tech for precision strikes, a superpower helps its ally raise the stakes. But with this warning, the analyst posits China is also trying to control the escalation, basically putting down a hard red line to keep the conflict from spiraling into a nuclear catastrophe. They want it fought on their terms. And all of this leaves us with one heck of a final question to chew on. If this analysis holds water, it could mean the proxy conflicts of the future might be fought with superpower precision, making high-value assets anywhere in the world far more vulnerable. So, with new allies and new technology, has the balance of power in the Middle East, and maybe beyond, shifted for good?